Hey guys, and welcome back to Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex. In the last episode, we imprisoned Wawa, so now it is time to move on to our next elemental mask, and that is the Fire Elemental. It's time for Pyro, so we have the Gauntlet, Tsunami, Smokey and the Bandicoot, Eskimo Roll, and Fahrenheit Frenzy. So we begin with Smokey and the Bandicoot for reasons that I will get into momentarily, just once we've had our little introduction with Pyro here.
I realize my brethren have had some trouble with you, my little orange friend, but I'm not quite sure why. Is it getting hot in here? Is it safe to be wearing that fur? It looks flammable!
Welcome to the madhouse, Batman! So Pyro's voiced by Mark Hamill. Alright, Smokey and the Bandicoot. It's a racing level. Remember those motorbike levels from Crash Bandicoot Warped? It's kind of like that. There's only one in this game, which I'm quite grateful for. But you're in the Jeep. Now we were already introduced to the Jeep through Jungle Rumble. The difference being is that here you're not constantly trying to drive away from something. In Jungle Rumble, this thing is fine. In this level, this thing is absolutely awful. It is abysmal how they thought that this was okay. So why am I going this slowly? It's because, tied with the final level of the game, this is the hardest box gem to get. And it's all because of two things. One, how this thing controls, and two, the hitbox for the Jeep is deceptively small. Like, you can have the Jeep's wheel, like the entire wheel, go through the box. It could go like halfway into the box and the box won't break. I mean, it might be doable to complete the race in first place and break all the boxes. Good luck. This is the best way to do it. Just go incredibly slowly. It's not at all remotely interesting. But look at how much you slide around at just the slightest bit of speed that you go around a bend, and it's dreadful. And you don't have to worry about this in Jungle Rumble because you're always just trying to go straight forwards. You're just going towards the camera, having to move left and right. You don't have to make any sharp turns like this, if you can call this sharp. I don't know if maybe it can do this in Jungle Rumble if I tried to, but I don't really want to because I'm sort of being chased by a herd of rhinos. You don't have to worry about any of that here. If you fall into one of the holes, it isn't like Crash 3 where it simply just puts you back onto the road. You are sent back to the beginning. So it's like, on one hand, if you miss a box, you can just go back into the pit. You can just drive off into a pit and it'll send you back to the beginning. So, you know, you have that, which is fine. It means that you don't have to worry about exiting the level and then going back in again. But it also means that if you're just doing a standard race, you fall into the pit, you're going back to the beginning again. So it's like, it's useful for box hunting, it's not so useful for actual just standard racing. Because I also want to say, in Crash 3, for certain levels, you could still get the box gem with the time trial, I think. I'm not too sure about that. And I don't know if that was carried over into the Insane Trilogy. I know with most levels you can't like go into the bonus rooms and everything, so it only really works for things like the jet skis, the planes, and the motorbike levels. But, you know, that could help if it worked that way. I don't actually remember if it worked that way. If it does, then fine, because you can get the crystal first, win the race, and then if you do it in time trial mode, you can just keep hitting restart trial. You can't. I don't think that works here, but to be honest, I've never tried. What I do find questionable is why some of these boxes are bouncy boxes and spring boxes. Why are they here? What use am I going to get out of them? We're nearly there. The final stretch. 2 boxes left. There's only 34, but it's a nightmare. We're nearly there. We're nearly there. There we go. Now, if you don't come first under normal circumstances, it would just give you the option to restart the race. I got the gem, so I can't. I've got to go back into the warp room first and then restart the race. Which is kind of annoying, but Crash 3 did that as well. Well, I will say, while these loading times aren't nearly as long as people make them out to be, unless it is just a different version of the PS2 port. But it definitely is longer than the previous games. What we had to worry about in the previous games was a quick flash of white or something. Or the screen would just very briefly fade to black. Yeah, that doesn't happen here. GameCube, yes. Xbox loading times are a little bit longer. They look like this, but you sort of like the camera pans, like it starts upwards and then Crash falls down in front of it and you're then looking at him from above. The camera sort of pans downwards as it happens. GameCube is just a black screen. Then it says loading. Which is a loading screen you do see right at the very beginning when you boot up the game. I am curious as to what the loading screens look like for Coco levels. And like, does Coco still bonk Crash on the head with her butt when you're playing on Xbox? All right, look how much faster this is. This is so much better. Anyway, so you're racing against Cortex's goons this time. You're not racing against lab assistants, and the only one you have to worry about is Entropy. He is your only competition. Dingo Dial, why is he here? Like, you'll pass him, no problem. They are, I think, all at like set speeds maybe, or at least they're always supposed to be in certain places. Like it'll be Dingo Dial and last. Then I think it's Tiny, then Engine, then finally Entropy. He is your only competition. Get out of my way, Entropy! Watch out for this pit. I do find quite often I do end up actually going over that pit. Like it'll launch me upwards into the air and I will land on the other side. Didn't want to take the risk though, even though I only just narrowly won the race. I do find it's mixed. Sometimes I can beat Entropy no problem, other times I only just about make it. So yeah, that is, under normal circumstances, a perfectly fine level. It's actually probably the easiest platinum relic in the entire game. But it is one of the worst box jumps. Only one level competes with it. Alright, now we're going into Tsunami, a level that seems very out of place because we're in the fire chamber and we're running away from a giant wave of water. And last I checked, water and fire, not really two things that mix together that well. So, this seems a bit out of place. I mean, Banzai Bonsai had lots of water in it, but this has even more water in it. There's a giant wave. It's raining. There's a lot more water here. Right. A little thing I didn't show off for Coco, she does actually have this leg sweep ability. It's completely useless because you can only use it... I mean, you can press the button while running, but it makes Coco stand completely still, which leaves her vulnerable to certain attacks, which there isn't really any sort of enemy, I guess, that leaves you vulnerable to attacks. They all just fire in a certain straight line. She also has her equivalent to Crash's belly flop. It's a stomp. Sends out a shockwave to give her the same sort of range that Crash would have. Because for Crash, it's his whole body. In this game, I think even the tips of his fingers will break open a steel crate. Compared that to It's About Time, where I swear, unless it's right in the center of Crash's body, I could be about... Similar to what I was saying about the tires for the Jeep. If Crash can be like halfway into a box, half his body can be... It's in that box, and that box will not break in Crash 4. The other Crash 4. Break open those. And bounce along these. I believe this was the first game in which, if a box is right next to a nitro crate, when you hit the nitro switch crate, that box will break as well. I don't think that worked in Crash 2 and 3. You had to break the boxes, so if there was a box stacked on top of a nitro, you had to make sure you broke that box, otherwise it wouldn't count. Even when you hit the nitro switch crate. Not a problem here, because in some cases it's impossible. First level it's impossible, because they're on the death route. Yeah, unless you want to break all the boxes and then backtrack through the death route, you could do that. So now we have a scooter. Hold circle button to accelerate, X to jump, which you don't need to use here. But yeah, we have the ability to outrun a massive tidal wave on a scooter. That's amazing, and it's stopped by the power of a wooden door. Right, there's an annoying problem here. Hit the nitro switch crate, get the box gem. But the gem path is now unbeatable, so jump into the water, die, and now do the gem path. A bit of a design flaw there, because you need to bounce. There's a load of boxes at the end of the gem path that are all stacked on top of nitro crates. So when you blow up the nitro crates, you can't get to the end, and nobody wants to backtrack through this. Right, this part is, well, it's annoying because of this bit right here, and a bit later on. The camera doesn't give you the best perspective here, so it's kind of difficult to see where you're jumping. You have a shadow, but you're only going to see that for like a split second before you land, so it's kind of hard to see where you're going. And watch out for the fish. I swear they have some really weird collision detection here. Right, you want to get like furthest distance with your jump, because otherwise I did miss that box a few times. And there we go. Yeah. The fish have weird collision detection, because I swear that was like the second attempt, I think. Because I died to the fish, but I was nowhere near the fish. So I don't know what exactly happened. But yeah, it is surprisingly easy. It is actually really easy to miss those iron crate pillars. And even though the gem I collected is black in the level, it appears as like a dark grey kind of colour when you pick it up, when you leave it on the warp room thing. What do you call that? Pedestal?
I have a taste for some deep-fried Bandicoot.
Alright, what he said. I mean, at the very least, he is the only mask that actually speaks during the opening. So, we got the Joker. We're going to use the Joker, even though he doesn't really put on a Joker voice except for that one bit. Which I do like. Like, it looks flammable! I always love the delivery of that line. Even though I didn't watch Star Wars until later into my childhood, so I had no idea who was voicing Pyro. I didn't know of who Mark Hamill was. I didn't know of the Joker. But I always loved the way he said that. Right, another level that seems a little bit out of place. But in fairness, a lot of the snow is being melted here, so I can kind of understand this one. This is Eskimo Roll. And it's our second atmosphere level, quite a bit more difficult from the first. There's a lot of uneven terrain here. Oh no, Tiny! Don't nudge me out of the way. So this is what people complain about, how Cortex's minions are nothing but a minor obstacle. They're a bit more annoying in some of the flying levels, mainly that sinking feeling, because they're just shooting at you with machine guns, draining your health. Here, and in the next two atmosphere levels, you have Tiny trying to hop to the side to get in your way, but you can still go right past them because you can only go so far. And then you have Dingodile and Entropy sort of firing projectiles, which is like all the other projectile enemies in this game. They're not actually firing it at you, they're just firing straight forwards. Or in Dingodile's case, up in the air. It is possible to get up this hill again, but it's gonna take a while. See, here's Dingodile. He's just firing from side to side. This one's fine. It's when we encounter him later on, it's a bit more of an issue. He's easily the most dangerous. They redesigned the penguin as well. I think I mentioned this in part 1. It's more like a rock hopper penguin now. But I still want to know, why does it have a black eye in the Insane trilogy? So yeah, I don't know how Dingodile is doing this, but apparently he has the ability to teleport. How is he doing this? That's 2 times he's just teleported, but those 2, he fires up in the air. He only fires 3 shots, but they're more difficult to tell where they are, because the shadow is not immediately going to be there. Right, now I have to wait on these things. Some of them, the terrain on these little box things is uneven. Like, some of them, it's a bump in the middle. Some of them, it's a dip in the middle. You can make out the difference. Right, move on to this thing, and then just try and stay in the middle. Reposition yourself a bit, and then after that, like, I'm not holding the analog stick here. Crash, because the thing dips, it's a small bowl shape. He's not going to stand completely still, but you're not going to fall out. Okay, the thing will move back to the platform, and we can carry on. Oh look, it's entropy, and that's all he's going to do. He doesn't even change direction. You know, he doesn't stop either, even though I'm not there anymore. And then you have these tube things. There's no boxes down here. I just wanted to show this off and fail spectacularly to do so. How I'm leaving a trail behind in ice, I don't get. Snow, I get. Ice, I don't get. If you can get this to work, it's actually pretty fun. And I need to get it to work because it's the only way out. I don't know why though, I always hated the sound effect this thing makes. Whee! I nearly missed. Right, avoid these 2 nitro crates, then the nitro switch box is just that 3rd one there, which I did miss at one point. On a previous playthrough, this is quite a while ago. And there we go, watch out for this big pit here. That is going to be your worst enemy in time trial mode. I have died so many times right at the end of the level because I have forgotten that that pit is there, and then I fall in the pit, and then I have to start the entire level again. So many time trial fails because of that. So who put that pit there? Alrighty, now it is time to actually, let's have an on foot level, shall we? Well, we did have a mostly on foot level with Tsunami. The scooter part doesn't last very long. But it's time for one of those rare instances in which the entire level is actually on foot. When was the last time we had one of those? I think it was Banzai Bonsai. This is only like the 4th level where we've been entirely on foot. We had Arctic Antics, we had Wizards and Lizards, we had Banzai Bonsai. Different character, but you're still on foot. It's only the 4th level. Yet this is, well, technically it's level 11, but it could be anywhere between 11 and 15. It's also the only level in this chamber where you're entirely on foot. In fact, I think each warp room only tends to have one single level where you're just on foot. Oh no, the 5th chamber has more than one actually. It has 2. Technically 3. You do use a vehicle in one of those levels, but it's so brief that you kind of just forget about it or not even count it. Right, so this level is kind of the successor to Wizards and Lizards. There's no dragon here, but you are in a medieval castle. Because apparently we are time traveling. Got those balls that are on fire, which is odd because there is a level in this game called Crate Balls of Fire. But there's no balls on fire in that level. There's fire, much of it, but there isn't any balls. Alright, these pusher things can be a bit problematic if you have Aku Aku. Because this game was rushed. And this is where I suddenly remembered, oh wait, I have a double jump, but then also I haven't had any reason to use the double jump yet, because Coco doesn't get it. But those pusher things, if you have Aku Aku, what they can do is they can push you into the foreground, but on quite a number of occasions, I've been pushed into the foreground, I'll fall down the front, but I won't actually enter like a death zone. Crash will still be down there, you'll just be able to make out the top of his head. And you can still sort of move around, but you can't go anywhere, you're stuck. And so all you can do is just exit the level and enter it and go back in again. Obviously if you don't have Aku Aku, that's not really a problem if you get hit, but it does if you do have Aku Aku, or you're invincible, the thing pushes you off the edge. Yeah, it doesn't always happen, but I have had it happen to me a few times. I don't know why it doesn't just kill you. But, yeah. So watch out for that. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oop, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. I'm so grateful they cut that down. It's like in Crash 1 and 2, you had to bounce on those things 10 times, so in those moments, oh god, it took forever. Much as I don't like how this game has that issue where the boxes will break prematurely, it's still so much faster. Also, at the very least in this game, I don't need to worry about having to try and maneuver my way on top of the upper bouncy box to make sure there's no box above me, because that is everywhere in Crash 4. It's about time. It's like that one annoying box in Cold Hard Crash, and they decided to put it in nearly every level. Even after Cold Hard Crash lowered that box so you could see it. Look at this invincibility that I can't use. Alright, welcome to our next death route. And this one is kind of like the last one, but a lot more hazards to avoid. These spike ball things, though, you can run right underneath them. I guess it's if you try to jump over the blade. Like, maybe that's the challenge. Otherwise, I don't know what the point of them is. This one can be tricky for one main reason. You can't really see where you're landing, as was evidenced there. And the other annoying thing is that, unlike bonus platforms, when you die, you're not brought back to the start of the platform. You are sent back to the checkpoint. So you do have to make your way through that long corridor again. I always used to go into the end, but then I've discovered that I could do this. It's like this. These aren't hazards. All I have to do is just not jump. Yeah, it can be kind of tricky. You can't see Crash's shadow during that fiery section, so it's kind of difficult to judge whereabouts you are. It's not too bad, though. Like, I usually do manage to get through it no problems. That on the first 2 attempts I managed to do it no problems. But of course, the time where everything goes more successfully, it's when I can't do it anymore. Watch out for that wizard. Make use of the double jump here. The wizards turn you into bats in this game. They don't turn you into frogs. Every now and then that fire does spew out these little fireballs. Whether or not they actually hurt you is something I don't know. I don't know what happened there. Ow. Watch out for this thing. By the way, the double jump in this game is so much better than in Crash 3. Because in Crash 3, what double jump? It was one of the absolute worst abilities in Crash 3. Because it just did not work. You press the button in the air, it doesn't work. You mash the button while you're jumping, it doesn't work. And I think you have to do it before you reach the maximum point of your jump. Otherwise it doesn't work anymore. Still doesn't work. Even when you're even if you press the button while you're still ascending, it just did not work. Which made sections, like in one of the levels, I think it's like Dynamite on the gem path, you have to run away from the Triceratops. There are fire pits, lava pits, that you have to double jump over. But you can't see that the thing is wide enough, or that the thing is too wide for you to single jump on. So you have to double jump. But by the time you've realised that, you won't be able to double jump anymore. But even if you do know that, most of the time the double jump just doesn't work anyway.
Hope you brought your sunscreen, 'cause you're gonna burn!
Yeah, whatever. It just did not work. It's better in the Insane Trilogy. Like, for the most part, where it still has its moments, and it's still awkward to use. You still have to do it only when ascending, but it otherwise does work. For the most part. But in the original Crash 3 on PS1, the double jump didn't work like 70% of the time. I hated that double jump so much. Hey. But yeah, here the double jump actually works a lot better. It's a bit selective, on whether or not it wants to work when you're descending, but for the most part you can do it at any point in your jump. It still cuts a bit of your forward momentum. Not as badly, I'd say. It is just so much better overall. It's also very rarely required, if at all, actually. I don't think you ever actually... No, there's like 2 gem paths that require the use of the double jump and death tornado spin, but that is it. I don't think there's any other point in the game where the double jump is actually a necessity. Which is fine, you know, it's just something just there to make things a little bit easier. Speaking of other things that control much better than before, the Copter Pack. It has the same control scheme as Crash 2's Jetpack, which was awkward. X to move forward, circle to move backwards, and then you can move up and down. Automatically the controls are inverted. I don't know why the Jetpack isn't like that. At least on Insane, I'm not sure about original Crash 2. Always have the controls inverted. Anybody who doesn't like inverted controls is a freak. Up should be down, down should be up in flying controls. But the main thing I hated about the jetpack in the original Crash 2 was, like the scuba diving in Crash 3, the collision detection. It got stuck on things all the time. But thankfully, again, I don't need to worry about that. Don't you hate it when you need to activate a switch box just to reveal some nitro crates? But if you don't activate it, you can't blow up the nitro crates later. I mean, it does cause those other wooden boxes to appear as well. But still, don't you hate that? Right, most pointless box in the game. The invisibility box. There's only 3 of them in the entire game. The first an oversight. Aku Aku crate. And now I can't get that box that's right at the top. Why did they put the Aku Aku crate in the middle? Why not put it at the top? Because if you turn invincible, like I just did, I couldn't break that box at the top anymore, and that was it. I was screwed. All I could do was kill myself. I'm going to assume the collision section's really weird on that thing again, so watch out. Right, this could potentially be the worst bonus room in the game, and it's all because of this box, this switch, this slot box right here. Make sure you jump on that when it's a TNT crate, otherwise you're not getting everything. Mind your positioning a little bit there. And tiptoe your way along again. Watch out there, because Crash does move faster when he walks off the edge. Right, I hate this placement. Yeah. They could have done with moving that a little bit further forwards. This is also the first game in which you break the Crash crate. You don't actually need to pick up the token or pick up Aku Aku. It's just automatically given to you. Just by breaking the box. At least for once here, it actually went better on the successful recording. Managed to do that in one go. The previous attempt took a number of tries. If I wasn't having an issue with the nitro crates, I was getting the timing wrong on that TNT crate. Right, so now we have... I keep saying right. Why do I always begin a sentence with the word right? So now we have this X-ray, which looks really cool, actually. I kind of wish we could see what was inside the boxes. Point blank range. Alright, we don't need to go through all that again. Maybe you see the lab assistant's inside. I don't know if he's a skeleton or a robot, whichever he is. Seems kind of lazy that we couldn't, but the skeleton look is cool. The X-ray look. And now, what happened there? That's a new one. I've never had that happen to me before. Invisibility crate number 2. So yeah, all it does is make you invisible, and you can walk through lasers. It only appears in 2 levels in the game. It only appears twice in this level and once in another level. And that's it. It's the only 3 times it ever shows up in the entire game. So I don't know why they even bothered. It's such a pointless box. I mean, it works. You can go through the lasers. I just don't see what the point of it actually was. Because it doesn't even last that long. Alright, now it's time for our boss fight. Crashes to Ashes. Which can be the one that causes the most problems, actually. It's probably the most difficult boss.
Ah, the triumphant hero Crash, reduced to a pile of smoldering ash.
Let's finish this.
So yeah, drain damage was the one that's caused me the most problems so far, but it used to be this one. Nowadays, I don't find this one to be all that bad. Drain damage, again, drain damage, the issue is usually just your depth perception. But then you can go back into the boss fight now with the double jump, and it is no problem whatsoever. Yep, so this is a 3-phase fight. Each phase works the same. You start by running away from Crunch. He will throw these fiery rocks at you. Make sure you don't stand still, or that wall of fire is going to hurt you. For some reason, it doesn't hurt you here. You jump into this mech, and then you're trying to shoot water at him, I think. I only find I'm ever able to hit him if I jump. But if I jump too early, I still can't hit him. I've never found just running after him works. He's always a bit too far ahead. Phase 2 is exactly the same, we're just running further away. But the big mystery for me, all these years in playing this game, what is Crunch saying when he first moves? Is he saying pie? Is he saying bye? Because he wants, is that a way of saying bye-bye? What is he saying die? Like, what is he saying when he starts running after you? Yeah, he does leave these fiery rocks behind as well, so watch out for that, even after you've hit him. You do run forwards automatically. But I think you run forward automatically after you've hit him. Otherwise, I think you can stop. Don't know why you do that. This could be the difficult phase. We're running the same distance, but now the rocks can, at random, break off into 2. And it's completely random whether or not they will do so. So I would recommend using the double jump. Because you also can never really be sure whereabouts the rocks are going to split up. That doesn't hurt me. Yeah, how... That doesn't hurt me, but the little rocks that come off of Crunch there do hurt you. Yeah, in this phase the rocks move. Yeah, touch those, it's instant death. But unfortunately, you got... Why can't I just end the level? Just give me the power-up. Why have I got to run all the way to the end? And now it is our Death Tornado Spin. Best ability in the game. Can hover in the air. Whee! I still want to know what happens to these abilities at the end of Crash 3. But yeah, they're not here anymore. Yeah, it can be a fun boss. You just got to... once you know what you can expect, they're still unpredictable. Where are those little fiery rocks going to roll? When and where are the rocks going to break into 2?
Cortex! Why is that mindless Marsupio still collecting those crystals? He's defeated Rocco and Wawa! I'm beginning to question the value of your super weapon! I don't need another mask's help. I could take this Crash punk out with my metal arm tied behind my...
Oh, Crunch. Stop being silly. Uka, he will use the elemental masks. No need for you to lose any beauty sleep.
Because doesn't he need it? What happened to Crunch there? Tied behind my back. What was that? Kevin Michael Richardson, what happened there? Was that scripted? Also, Uka Uka, we've also taken out Pyro. Just to make your life even more miserable, we've taken out Pyro as well. Not just Rocco and Wawa. Alright, but next up, name is never mentioned in the game itself. But next up is the Air Elemental Lolo. So I will see you guys next time. Crash, where did that come from?